honestly, I have like the
worst communication.
Maybe
Story?
No, maybe not story, but like I'm the type who I make plans.
Yeah.
With like you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
then go home and tell
that
your
I
wife.
committed to another plan with my wife. Dude, I do that all the time.
You know what's funny is actually in my college class back when I was at De Anza, it was a critical thinking class, and I actually wrote about you. Specifically about
First time
this.
you ever heard of this?
Specifically this about what you just mentioned, how you make plans and then sometimes you don't go through it because you forget you have other plans. But the question was like, who are you like most closest to, and why do you decide to keep up with them? Like, even like they made us make like a pros and cons list,
okay,
kind of, and so that and it's like, all right, do the pros outweigh the cons?
Okay,
and then the con and big, I'm like, yeah, this fool always says he's gonna be doing this with me and all this, and then never comes through. So that was literally like the only con I had for you.
No, see, so I come through.
You're
though.
almost perfect.
No. No. See, I come through. I'll just have to reschedule it for a different day,
Right.
Because I already have something planned that day. But see,
Yeah.
I do that all the time. Seriously, like when we make plans, like let's say after church,
Yeah.
I'm like, hold that thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've learned to. They're like, okay, yeah, let me talk to my wife first
Yeah.
to see if we have anything planned.
Yeah, 10 years hasn't changed.
No, I don't.
I'm the same way though, because when people make plans that like seem hella fun, I'm just
Yes.
like, yes, I want to do that.
Yes.
So let's do it. Let's go. You know, and then
That's what it is.
She'd be like, and then I get home and baby's like, what about the anniversary or what about the birthday party? And it's like,
Yeah, that's why I work on my calendar. I have to have everything on my calendar. Even today, hell funny. Like I just look at the time. I'm like, dang, I think Alina gets off early today, and I message her, and she's like, I just got off right now. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go get her.
Oh damn!
And so I told her, like, put it in the calendar. She's like, it's been 3 years. I've got it off early at this time. I'm gonna put it on the calendar.
yeah,
I just need it on my calendar
Yeah.
as a reminder, and then
for sure.
for the same reason, bro. I hate double booking.
Yeah.
and then you're gonna have to be a jerk and be like,
Yeah.
especially if it's in advance notice.
Yeah.
Then you got to pick what is it that you actually want to do, and then
Yeah.
it's like, dang, I actually want to do this, but I got to go do this because I
Exactly.
committed this before, or I've told them already,
Yeah.
3 times yes, another time. So
Well, that's what my brother. And then sometimes what happens is that you make those plans with someone else. You already had plans,
right.
but then you don't confirm that with your wife until you're much closer to the date. So the person you initially committed to thinks, "Oh, this dude, we're locked. We're going to this." Just like my brother, because we were supposed to go airsofting on my son's birthday party. He already bought his ticket, so my brother Stank is not going to be there. But I didn't buy my tickets yet, luckily. And then that's when me and my wife were talking about it this week, and she's like, "Oh, we need to do Seth's birthday because we can't do it. We would typically do it this weekend, but we already got stuff going on." So she's like, "It has to be the following weekend." So I was like, "Oh man!" So I'm gonna have to cancel on Stank now, and so I just hit him up. I was like, "Bro, can't do it." He's like, "Well, it's good that you didn't buy it." He's like, "It's good that I asked you in a month in advance." Of course, my brother, right? And I was like, "I know, for real." I said, "My bad, bro." I said, he's like, "Well, at least you didn't buy your ticket because then you would have had to like give that away or just or forfeit altogether."
You can't reschedule it.
I don't know. I personally didn't buy the ticket, so I don't have to worry about it. But Stank did. And when I asked him if he could make it, he said no because he already bought his ticket. So maybe not.
Got it.
I don't know.
To me, the moment that it confirmed to me that you were a down fool was when we invited you to the soccer game. It was gonna be your first soccer game. You're like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready." Boom. Then you sent Oscar the money for the ticket already. As soon as we mentioned it,
I wasn't even ready yet.
right? And then like a week later, we start talking about the date. And then you're like, "Oh shoot, when's the soccer game?" It's like it's on a Saturday in August, and like I'm like, this guy didn't even bother to check his calendar. Nope. Jay over here.
Locking it in, bro.
It was an away game too. It wasn't even here. Dude.
Yeah.
We're gonna fly out.
Yeah, we didn't even tell you he was gonna be in Mexico, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, I'll be back. What? Yeah, apparently we're going to Mexico.
That's hilarious. But no, man, I got better at that though, because now I do set reminders on my phone
Yeah.
days before.
Same.
Hey, this day you're gonna do this at this time. Okay, cool. And then I do that. But then again, I do double book, semi-accidentally, because I'm like, I want to choose one, which is gonna be more fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For me, if I double book now,
Like leading up to the day,
Right.
like
Yeah.
how much do I feel?
because I'm definitely
Yes.
much better at putting stuff in my calendar now. But what happens is that sometimes I'll just still agree before even checking my calendar.
Yeah.
Because it's not automatic for me to be like, oh yeah, let me check my calendar. Even though I'm doing it, like you'll see stuff that I already have planned in my calendar right now. But sometimes I still say yes even before I check that calendar. And then I'll go and check it and be like, shit, gotta cancel.
Yeah. No, I figured out a way how to do it. Like, okay, I can be here for 3 hours. And then it'll take me 30
I've
minutes to
done
get
that
here,
too.
and then 2
Yeah.
hours. Okay, cool. I can do both in one day.
Yeah.
But then it's having to convince the wife to do it with me because,
Yeah.
she's like, nah, I didn't
Not
agree
a
to
solo
that.
party now.
Yeah. Huh?
So you're
It's
not
a solo party. Yeah, no. But yeah, that's something I really struggle with. I need to really work on to this day. And I really want to read your assignment because this is a surprise to me. Damn, dude.
The whole class read it. It was like the best essay ever written in that class. Deanne's college history.
Got it. Dude.
You made it into college without going to college.
God. As long as I made you pass, dude, that's all that matters.
For real.
Okay? So you're welcome
Yeah,
for being the way I am.
I think I'd say I've gotten way better at communicating, and if I give you like a yes, it's because I already checked and I booked. Like I check with my wife and my calendar, and I'm like, we're good to go. Very few instances, yes, I may have to cancel, something pops up, but like I'll let you know, like
Something better came up.
in advance. Something.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah.
No.
Come on.
No, but
Because you wouldn't cancel if it wasn't better.
no. Well, you just never know.
Okay.
Something might come up. Family issues or something.
Okay. Oh, see, yeah, issues are different. Yeah, I guess emergencies, those are different. But it's like, oh, this party's gonna be more popping than this one. My bad, in-laws. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Well, there's times when we did that and we know that the second place that we're going to go to is going to be like, that's where we really want to be.
Yeah.
So we'll still go to the other one and be like, oh, we have to go. I have to take my son to the party, or I have to take my son to class, or whatever it is, some type of something.
Yeah.
And then you kind of cut your time short there and be like, but he still showed. So
Yeah.
Wait, you've done that to me before, though.
I agree because I think making an appearance is important.
Yeah.
At least you made the effort to show up, right? Even if for
Yeah.
a little bit, like, hey, my bad, like.
Pa la
you know.
foto.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
I gotta go
Yeah.
feed the dog. I gotta go feed my fish. I have to go now. And then you don't have a fish, but you just leave. You find any excuse you find. You know what I mean?
You know, something that grinds my gears is...
Oh, please tell me what grinds your gears. Is it on the
is
report?
when-
Is it on the report?
Amal is his
think it
wife.
was.
She's been grinding your gear for years.
Is
Dude, that would have been bad right now.
Continue.
something that grinds my gears is when you're planning something with friends or family and they just hit you with I'll see what's up. And that kind of sounds like y'all right now. Like, I'll see what's up. Like, is the party gonna be popping or what?
Yeah.
Like, what are we gonna be
Maybe.
doing?
For me, anytime, and this goes across the board, anytime anybody tells me I'm gonna look into it or I'll see what's up, I mostly take that as a no. For
Oh,
most
yeah.
people,
Every
especially
time. Every time.
it's mostly like they're not gonna make it. Like
95% of the time, the people who say I'll see what's up, they don't ever respond with hey, I saw what's up and
it's
I
different
go.
if someone says, oh, you know what, I'm gonna check my calendar or I'm gonna talk to the wife to make sure.
Exactly.
Now if they say that, okay, cool, there's a potential there, but yeah, if they were like, oh, I'm gonna see what's up, I'll let you know, bro, like, or that, then it's like, okay, no, they're not coming.
Uh-oh. I'll see what's up.
Those are your
No, I mean,
forbidden
I
words,
use that too
Jay.
when I don't want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But I use the same thing. I mean, I'm not saying like I don't like that. What I'm saying is that I recognize that as verbiage that equates to I'm not going to be there.
This makes me want to go back through all my text messages.
I know.
When I say,
Seriously.
well, how do I respond to those? You know what I'm saying? I don't think I'm a that. I don't think I'm a. I'll see what's up type of guy. I think I'm more like yes or no. I'm a yes or no. Like, nah, I don't want.
Yes, no, or you forgot.
Yeah.
Yes. But if you forgot, it was really a no.
Right.
You know what I
Or
mean?
you just don't actually read the text.
Yeah.
I know I said yes,
up
but
and
I
thank
read it.
God we
Away.
had plans.
I read it. I read your guys' text messages. It just takes me a while to respond. You know, because someone here has an Android, so it's like, oh,
Oh
You know.
God.
And you know what's even
what did you like, Jacob? I don't know what you liked.
It's what's even funnier is that when you hit somebody up, you message them, and they're taking their sweet time to respond, but in that same time frame, they shoot you a meme on Instagram.
Oh God.
That is
I'm like,
funny.
this isn't what I asked for. Like, I sent you a text message.
But then you send that same text message in the DM,
Yeah,
so they can read it again. Like, oh, okay.
So they send that on Instagram, and then finally they respond to the text. But I'm like, you had your phone open.
Yeah.
Slide over to your messages. app.
Right.
I'm bad at texting though, dog. I am bad at texting, for sure. I read it, and in my mind, I respond. I always respond in my mind. But then I always go back, oh, crap, I never responded back.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh, yeah, a
only
lot.
2 days later.
How long did it take you to respond when your wife slid into
Immediately.
your DMs?
Immediately. Because
you
I was on
cared.
Twitter. I was,
Wait, she slid on your DMs through Twitter?
yeah.
Wow.
And so I just saw a message like, oh, wait, who's this? Okay. We didn't follow each other because I don't follow anyone on Twitter because I just like to go for, the funny videos or whatever. And then I was like, oh, okay, I know you. No.
Well, of course you
And then she did I'm going to get off right now. So here's my number so you can text me. God. Come on, man.
So I got this in the bank.
I already knew. I already looked at the ring that same day. I'm just kidding.
You're like, well, while I'm at Twitter. X.
Chill out. Oh, man. Nah, man. But that's how it started. So, yeah, man. It was a nice little, conversation starter for sure. And then from there, it's history. You know? And to this day, I'm still working on my communication with her. So that's something that I really have worked on these past couple years because I wasn't good at that, man. I was more of a, I hold my feelings to myself and I don't tell you that something pissed me off or like, I just like, if I'm quiet, then I'm telling you enough. But it's like, no, sometimes they want to hear, what's happening from your own words, like what really offends you. That way they can be more aware of that, I was, for the longest, I was a believer like, oh, if I'm quiet, then you already know something's up. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh, then what is up though? If I can't tell you, what makes you think that you won't do it again?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's very important too when it comes to a marriage and being able to communicate with them on things that not just make you happy, but also things that may upset you because, that's the things you can start avoiding in the future and work on. All right. So I don't know how you guys are with your wives regarding that, but I just got better, honestly, dude. Like these past 3 years, I've been really good at communicating because before that, man, I was a closed book.
Yeah.
And so even like expressing myself to her was kind of difficult to me because I was like, oh, I'm very prideful. I'm not going to sound all, lovey-dovey. You know what I'm saying? But no, recently, no, man. I worked on that and I think it's made me better. I think it's made us better too.
It does make you better.
It's made us better completely. It's like, okay, now you're my safe place. You know what I'm saying? Like now I can tell you whatever I want to tell you, and vice versa. So I think that has really helped us in our marriage completely. So that's something that I still work on. And I'm still trying to master, and so, yeah, I don't know how you guys are with you guys.
Do you guys think that that's something that, I'm assuming that, all of us have had to deal with that, but I was the same way, dude. Closed book.
Yeah.
Like, same thing. If something bothered me, I'd stay quiet.
Yeah.
And I've struggled with that, to actually have open communication.
Yeah.
But, why is that? Why is it as men, it's easier for us just to not talk about our feelings?
It could be pride, man.
Yeah.
It could be you don't want to like seem like you have an emotional side, I guess.
That, and sometimes maybe what was said may have created some anger inside, and you think the best way to deal with that anger is just to bottle it up.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't know how you feel about it just yet. You're still wrestling with the emotions that arise, and you don't know where to go from there. And that's me. I'm on the same boat with you guys. Initially, when, you know, my wife, because for her, something in the beginning, I was, when I was communicating with her, or her communication style, or her humor is sarcasm. If you guys have met my wife, she likes to be sarcastic.
Yes.
And I did, my whole life, I wasn't really aware of sarcasm. Like, I never really expressed it much, nor did I really have friends or were around people that were sarcastic. So at first, when we were engaging in conversations, he started being sarcastic with me. In a way, when you first get introduced to it, you feel like they're kind of making you feel dumb.
Yeah.
Like that was at least my initial reaction.
Gotcha.
With the sarcasm. And then
You were defensive
I
to
was
it.
defensive to it.
Yeah.
And one of the defensive mechanisms that I had, the same with you, is just the silent treatment.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it. You know, I'm cool. I'm fine. Just don't do it again. Whatever the case may be.
Sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, sweep
Yeah.
it under the rug. But then I would see how much that would hurt her. Without saying a single word, it caused, if not more damage than if I would have said something.
For us as men, we struggle with that because of, you know, pride, and you know, we also don't want to say something we might regret.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly
huge.
what I was going to say. I feel like some men, for them, it's to be like, I better shut up before I say the wrong thing. And
Exactly.
then we get to an area that's a whole other problem.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right. And that's still not healthy. It doesn't make it any better, because Hedda's right. The times where I was quiet, my wife would like drive her more nuts than if I was actually trying to communicate something.
Yeah.
Right. And so it is better that our communication evolves, you know, and that's something we always hear. That's, I think I mentioned to you guys in the last episode that we talk about a lot about communication and how the importance of it with our loved ones, with you know, especially our wives or our spouses, and the importance of it, but we don't focus so much on the quality or how to communicate what should be communicated. So some of us think, well, I'm communicating with her, but she's just not understanding, you know?
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's not that you're not communicating, but your communication skills have not evolved to an area where now she can actually take what you're saying, or you can take what she's saying, not be over defensive about it, and just move forward on, like, okay, you know what? I can grow from what she's telling me.
Yeah.
If I listen to her, if I really listen, because part of communication is listening. I think a big, a vital thing to know about communication is listening to our spouses and hearing what they're trying to tell us, and then saying, okay, well, this is my take on it, obviously in a calm and collected way, where they can get your understanding without being angry and stuff, or you can be a little bit upset, but not just overdoing it, right? It's okay to feel your feelings, your emotions, but also not let them take control over you when you're communicating.
Yeah, because I mean, there is a wrong way to communicate, right?
For sure.
So it's like you can be quiet, but then also like you can also be someone who talks back, and that's probably even worse than being quiet.
Yeah.
You probably should have kept your mouth shut. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
you just made it 10 times worse.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So there
Good
is a very there's a right way to do this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's as calming as possible. And you're right. Listening to me, like I learned how to do that, bro. How to listen. Like, okay, like I'm not gonna like just block you out and like just tunnel vision. Just I can't wait till you stop talking so I can tell you my rebuttal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Dude,
no,
that's really good, bro.
you know, now it's like, okay,
It's
you know
so
what?
important.
How do you feel?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How are you? Everything good? Like, talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And let's, like you said, the last one is like conflict and resolution, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's very important when it comes to marriage,
Yeah.
because how do you expect to grow in your communication? Because you're gonna spend the rest of your life with this person, right?
Yeah.
And what, you're gonna spend the rest of your life not communicating correctly? You know what I mean? You're gonna drive yourself crazy. Jeez. You know, where you can stay quiet 90% of the time or go off 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So
I love that you said that, bro. So some of us, we listen to respond.
oh, for sure.
We should,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's just like, yep, go ahead. And you already know what you're going to say. And so everything that she's saying or he's saying to you, you're just, because women are guilty of it too, right? Where they just listen to respond. Some I have, a few friends who have spouses where they just listen to respond, and they, when they complain about, man, they just don't hear me, and they have an answer for everything I'm saying, but it's not an answer that's conducive to growing or, getting over what they're trying to get over in that relationship, and becoming better or to get to a better spot in their relationship. Yeah. That was fire, bro.
Yeah, that's really
Legit.
good. And something that I learned in communicating with my wife and not being so reactive is learning how to be proactive. Just completely the opposite of it, right? When you're reactive, you're really just complaining and you're trying to find everybody else's faults, everything they did wrong. And in a way, you kind of put yourself as the victim, right? So when you do that, there's really no space for forgiveness, for grace, no space to even consider listening to the other person. All you're looking for is just complaints and excuses and not really coming down to a solution or wanting to even fix the issue that's at hand. So on the other side of that is being proactive, and that's you really tuning in to what the issue might be, and like how you said, really listening and understanding. I'm like, okay, I might have said this that then triggered her to do this, which then resulted in this. So in being proactive, you're already in a way trying to have a solution without necessarily placing blame on others, but taking ownership and responsibility for what your own actions are, right? So that's in a relationship. It takes two. I can't control what the other person might say or how they might feel after what I say, but I know what I can control, what I can say, how my attitude is, what my tone and my voice is, and everything. So that's something that I always talk about with my wife, and I mentioned to friends, is like always try to find a way to be proactive over reactive.
That's so good, man. Bro. Should be on a t-shirt.
Next month.
Merch coming soon.
Social wave merch?
There it is.
Vamos.
And I think also communication has a lot to do in the family aspect too, right? Because you want to set an example for your kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to show your kids okay, like this is how me and your mom communicate. Because then that's going to just trigger that trauma to them. Like, like this is how my parents were when they were married. Like I'm going to treat my girl or my boy the same way. You know what I mean? And so it starts at home, right?
Yes, it does.
And then you set that example for your kids, and then they get to be, to do it the way that's supposed to be done, right? So, I mean, I just want to talk to people out there about that too, man, because, I think that's something that is lacking, right? It's communicating, which is why, a lot of the times, what is it, like 50% of marriages end in a divorce?
Yeah.
And that's, you can say finances or whatever, but like I can assure you it's because they didn't communicate about their finances.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, everything that happens that's going to tear that marriage apart comes down to the communication. Because if you were to talk about this prior to it happening or going downhill, you could have avoided that.
Exactly.
You could have fixed it. You know what I mean? But no, you wanted to stay quiet, and then, just piles up on you, and then you explode.
Yeah.
Done. You know what I mean? And so, talk to your spouses, man.
Yeah, that's why it's important in your relationship to see if like those red flags that might be popping out. Consider it to be like a fire, and then a forest, and these red flags are just little fires. That it might be contained for a little while, might just be a small little brush fire, but then it can potentially lead to just completely burning up the forest, So that's just being in tune with that and checking, your boundaries so that those red flags might not be present. Not to say that there's never ever gonna be, red flags, but look for the green flags too, just be problem solvers, because in part of the communication too is I see this quite often, is that I'm like, all right, let's talk about it. We sit down, you talk about it, and cool, you talked about it, but what was the outcome of it?
Yeah.
You just talked about it.
Yeah.
You just said what you had to say. You know, you let some steam off, whatever the case may be. And where do you go from there? Do we change the trajectory, or are we on the same road?
Yeah. How do you fix it?
Right. So part of that of talking is, yes, you want to connect with the person. That's important. You want to talk about what the issue is, but then how are we going to solve this issue? Might not be a short-term solution, might not be right away, but you can start working on habits and everything with your spouse to potentially solve the solution. And I think that's something that is totally necessary, and some things that I see sometimes when people say like, oh yeah, you know, we talked about it, we're good. I'm like, all right, well,
what are you gonna do about it?
What are you gonna do about it? What's the solution? You know?
Yeah. It's gonna happen again.
Or else it's gonna happen again. It's gonna keep happening. You're gonna waste all your time and energy talking about the same thing, and you're in your head, you're thinking like, no, we're good. We talked about it. It should just kind of hide and fade away on itself. And nope. It's going to be there. It's going to be present. Yeah. And the next time somebody says something that takes you off, you're going to be thinking about that time because it wasn't totally resolved. And you're going to bring it back. And now you're not dealing with just this issue, but all these 100 other ones that you just kept under the rug.
Then your force is on fire.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so I think it's
not the good kind of fire.
Nah. So it's good to, have these conversations even prior to marriage, I believe, communicate with them like what your expectations can be, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think a big one of here that if we want to get into this topic is the intimacy part. Ooh. Right? Okay. Because I think that's very important to talk about prior to marriage or even like getting together, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because, some guys expect the girls to be Olympic gymnasts. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, nah, it ain't going to be like that. You know what I mean? It's like, did you guys talk about that?
I spent all my teenage years watching these movies that,
exactly.
Where they were all Olympic gymnasts.
You know what I mean? And so I think that, dog, that's, and that, honestly, that is such a problem, bro. Yeah. With like guys, it's that's why a lot of them go into, the adult films and they get their fuel there. You know what I mean? Because like, oh, my wife ain't doing that. Let me go imagine myself in a different world. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then you just lose that intimacy with your wife because you're too focused on something else. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. But if you were to communicate with them prior to that, like, hey, you know what? Like, want to try this out? Right. You know what I mean? Or anything, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's very important because then that just opens up that conversation. Like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm down. Like, spice it up a little bit. You know what I mean? And instead of you like locking yourself up somewhere like in private or something, I don't know. But I think that's something that's very common nowadays, right? Because it also has to do with our society now where like everything is sexualized too, and so the sex culture is big now, and where people want to have
everything.
They want to have that one perfect woman that they see on Instagram or whatever, right? Or like, like even now people are like, oh, like you want to have an open relationship? Like, oh, like what is your actual wife not meeting your needs? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like that's tough because I just...
Or people even just scared to get in a relationship and then are like, oh, let's just be friends with benefits.
Yeah. That just does more bad than good. Mm-hmm. It does no good. It just does bad. Yeah. Because one, you're traumatizing yourself and them because if you guys don't work out, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, you got my goodies, you know what I'm saying? And then like, some guys can be very prideful about that too. And like, oh, how many bodies you got? You know what I mean? And it's like, and that's the thing now because people are like, oh, I don't want you to have multiple bodies or you're not wifey material. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so,
that's just trash.
It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah, because it's like a double standard, right? Yes. Because we as men, we're like, oh, if this dude's got so many his body count is crazy. That means they equate that to he knows exactly what he's doing and he's a professional. This guy he can do crazy stuff. And whereas we turn that around, and if a woman has a high body count, we're like, oh no, that's not next,
Yeah.
And it's definitely a double standard for a lot of men, that we see that, as a bad thing for girls or for women, but a good thing for ourselves. And it's not true because, when you're in love with a woman and you want to be intimate with her and you care about her so much that you want to make her happy in that way, you'll ask her what makes her feel good.
Yeah.
and she'll tell you. She'll gladly teach you. And guess what? You will be a professional at pleasing that woman that you're married to.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You won't have to have 100 body count.
Nope.
Right? You'll just have to have the one teaching you what to do. You know? And so I think if more men were okay with asking, being like, yo, like, show me what makes you feel good. Show me what makes you happy. Then, man, you're going to be a pro at making that one woman happy. And that's all that matters.
Sure.
Yeah.
And not all the 100 that you made happen prior. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I think the lack of that communication too opens up the door of you like not even finding your own wife attractive anymore, right? It's like you lose that like attractiveness, that intimacy with her because you're too focused on like your own needs outside of that, you know? And then that also opens the door to infidelity, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, if you're not going to give this to me like this way, I'm going to go find someone who will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, yo, dude, like you should have spoke about that before you even got married. Like, hey, you know, you down for that? No? Okay, cool. You know what I mean?
So how do you guys keep that intimacy with your wife? To elevate or sustain, whatever it may be.
Jay?
One thing I did want to say was a lot of this, I think, goes into where your influences are at.
Definitely.
Who you're listening to, you know, because the phone is so easy to get to, and we see it all the time. All these videos that are coming out, and people giving their opinion that probably aren't even in a relationship, maybe have never been in a relationship longer than 6 months. And they're giving advice, you know, on unrealistic expectations, you know, and it's what you're taking in, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times what you're actually watching is influencing you.
Yeah.
Not realizing that what you're actually listening to is going to affect your life, you know, and your spouse or your partner, whoever you're with. And, it's like hearing you guys out. I'm like, dang, like it's, a lot of it has to do with who are you getting your information from?
Yep. You
know, and on how do you actually build a relationship with, even just with your kids itself, you know? I'm like, I trip out because I'm like, dang, like who is it that we actually listen to that is an actual influence to our lives, you know, and being able to treat our spouses, you know, and a lot has to do with respect. And when you put up that boundary, you put up that wall from the get-go, and like disrespecting them, you're never going to listen to them. You're never going to listen to their needs. Even if it's valid, what they're saying, you're always going to put up that wall.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, I mean, it's a trip because I'm like, dang, it always just leads to really like, you know, what is it that you're feeding your soul? What is it that you're feeding your life, you know, on a daily basis? Sorry, I kind of just drift off.
No.
That's really good. Just add to that. That boundary part is just of utmost importance. And with me and my wife, from the start, we set that boundary that we're always going to respect each other and we're not going to cuss at each other. Never once have I cussed at my wife. Never once have I, you know, call her the B word or anything. It has always been just respectful, and her to me as well. Because once you start getting into that and you start name calling and everything, just like you said, they're not gonna, you know, listen to you, you know, and it just becomes toxic because, okay, right now it just might be just this small little word, but later down the road can lead to something else, you know. But so why even dip your toes into that? Just keep that boundary. That's what it's there for. It's healthy. It's good, right? And I think that's what has allowed us to thrive in our communication, is that every time we're ready to engage in communication, we're going to come with good faith and in respect. So I just wanted to add in on that because it's important, man.
Completely agree. And I think like if we view our spouses that way, like they're supposed to be the, you know, most important person in our lives, why would you want to cuss them out? Why would you want to call them a name that you know they're not? You know, like it don't make no sense. That I've never even had that discussion with my wife before marriage where we weren't going to cuss at each other, and we never have. Because no matter how mad I was, I just knew for me that was set in stone in my heart like I was never maybe behind her back with the door closed, after I slammed the door. I can't be liable for what I've said, or what I've done, or the gang signs that I've made after I've closed the door, right? I definitely can't be liable for that, but I would never do that to her face, to let her hear me or see me. Just nah. It's not going to happen. Nope. And that boundary, setting that boundary that way, even talking about it beforehand is fantastic. I never did that, but I never thought about doing that. But for me, it was automatic. I just knew I never was going to cross that line, no matter how angry. I've broken chairs. I put a hole in the wall, but silently, just walk into the room and... That's it, and then patch it up and fix the wall later. But,
so that right?
Yeah.
You punched the wall and you just fixed it.
Yeah.
Right away. But when you cuss or you say something very demeaning to your wife, like you're now hitting wounds that can potentially or like not be closed so soon.
Yeah.
Or that it's something that she was still dealing with.
Yeah.
So that, in knowing that, you don't want to give those wounding words to your spouse. But I think that was a great metaphor, man. You're always spot on with the metaphors. Well, I mean, that wasn't a metaphor, but I took it.
That was real life. He did that.
Made it.
Yeah, right. You can patch anything on here, but you can't just patch it on your own for a wound that you put in your wife's
I can't
heart.
just go into the garage and grab the tools to patch that hole, that I just created with my words.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think another thing men need to be wary of when it comes, of course, it's respecting your wives at all times. Even when you're angry, you can still respect the person that you love with, you can be angry at them. Of course you can. But, and it's a huge thing that's in this world. And we talked about it, hypersexuality in the form of watching pornography. And I feel like that has ruined a lot of marriages by setting, number one, crazy expectations that the man sees, well, these women are doing all these crazy things in these videos, but my wife doesn't do this or she doesn't act that way. And like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Your wife is not that woman. That she's not the women in those videos. You should be getting it from her and her only. I read an article the other day that said there's more ED than there's ever been in men because of the dopamine that's involved with watching pornography. And the longer that you watch it over time, it affects you more in that your brain requires more stimulation now. And when you
ED? I'm sorry.
Erectile dysfunction.
Okay, sorry.
And so there's more of that in men because we're watching this, we're getting our highs from this pornography and then trying to, play out those roles with our wife. And it's just, we're not going to find that same satisfaction level or it increasingly over time requires more and more for you to find satisfaction to where you might not find, I can't find it in my wife. I have to do something crazier. And, we just need to get off that. If you are, number one, it's just not healthy for you. And it's definitely not healthy for your relationship, setting unrealistic expectations. We just need to,
For sure.
yeah.
And I don't think it's just marriages. Sorry. I don't think it's also just marriages that are people. I mean, people are already married, right? I think people who are like about to get married or dating to get married, right? They're still hooked on that, right?
Yeah.
So they're setting that expectation like, oh, when I get married, like my wife's going to do this. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
true.
But it's like, nah, dude, like get off of that now, right? Focus on the one woman you have in front of you, the one man you have in front of you. Because, I mean, pornography addiction is both ways, women and man too,
Agreed.
right? And so, like, you need to really focus on that one person and their needs and how you guys are going to be able to please each other, right? Forget that stuff. Just drop it. You know what I mean? And you're right. You're doing so much damage to you. And not just, physically, but also emotionally.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's one thing you're always going to crave. And that's one thing you're always going to want to expect. Right? And but if that doesn't get done to you, then you're like, oh, then that's whack. My wife's whack. Like, she want to do that. That's whack. Let me go do it somewhere else. And then again, like I said, that will open that door. Like, oh, this girl will probably do it. You know what I mean? And then and if there's kids involved, then you just basically ruined a family
for sure.
All because you're horny.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
straight up.
And sadly, that's what our culture is in now. That we have placed sex on a high pedestal. Yeah. That when you achieve this, then you are just at a high in life. You have achieved so much in life when you just go and have sex with a lot of people, whatever it may be. And something that me and my wife did before we got married is, because we were having sex before marriage, but because intimacy is much more than just having sex with your wife. A relationship is much more than just having sex with someone. Yes, there is a tie, there is a bond there. That's why it was designed to be in a marriage, right? Well, we weren't necessarily like that in the beginning, but once we started reading more into it about the design of sex and what it was meant for, as soon as we got engaged, we didn't have sex for a whole year up until marriage. And in that break that we had a whole year, we learned how to really love each other outside of sex, but really love her mind and her soul, and just get into incredible conversations, finding out a lot about her. And it didn't replace sex, but let me tell you, when you're in a really good conversation with your wife, like I feel like I'm at a high sometimes when you can just go into like deep conversations, and that's that emotional intimacy that you're building. And I think that year that we took a break really set us up far much more in our marriage, because now sex is much better than it was before. And like how you guys have mentioned, in communicating like what your needs are, and what your likes and what you don't like we were able to do that because first we had already built that emotional intimacy aside from just being physical. So that's what's important. But that's me. But
I think it's important for men and women to develop that that communication piece with each other, because at some point in the marriage, if you're with each other long enough, you're not going to have sex anymore.
Yeah.
And what are you going to have if you don't know how to communicate when you're 65? Then basically that's where the marriage ends. If you never built a relationship on communicating and all you had was the sex, and then that goes away because you're both way too old now. And the pills are not working, and the popsicle sticks and shoestring is not working anymore.
What's that? I've never heard that one before.
Okay, innovative.
Okay.
Right.
It took me a while. I'm sorry. I was trying to wait, what? Okay, go.
Yeah, but I just think it's so important to build your relationship with communicating and knowing that person intimately, and it makes you fall in love so much with them. And then when the sex part does come in, because you've already built this emotional attachment through conversation, sex is at another level with that person now, because you're so connected to them. You're now in love with the person that they are, everything that they've told you, all their secrets, the things that were worse about them, the things that are greatest about them, them, you take them into consideration. And then now when you finally get to be intimate with your spouse, it's like the greatest thing in the world, because you built a relationship on communication and not solely just for that. And because when that goes away someday, it's for those who never built the relationship of communication, you're going to find out real quick, all right, we don't have anything in common. We just liked having sex.
That's wild to think. It's like, well, now it's like, all right. Let me take my
Yeah.
My dentures
Or
out
you're mad. You're mad at each other, and you just go and bang it out, and now everything's fine.
Yeah.
When really
That is true,
it
too.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because deep inside of us, our soul.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
I thought we were gonna like look past that and just
No, there's
keep
no
going.
way. There's no way. There was zero chance.
struggle. We all struggle
Yes,
right now.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
There was zero chance of letting that one go.
Deep in our soul,
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
we long to have pleasure with somebody that we really love, like just building that bond.
Yeah.
And then you had mentioned dopamine. Well, when you have sex with someone, you're actually releasing that, I believe it's called oxytocin, and it's like the love hormone.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of unites us, like lets you like feel trust and love with that person.
Yeah.
Right. So, and having just that dopamine rush, like, oh, I feel bad, it's a mechanism where like, let me just go have sex and then it'll be fine. But really, like you've reached like a dopamine level where if you are no longer there, just regular sex like this isn't going to be enough.
Yeah.
Like you're going to, like how you mentioned, maybe infidelity, whatever the case may be, but you're going to be looking out there for something to really fill the hole in your soul.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay, you guys don't want to say nothing to that one? Jeez, he handed it to you guys.
He said in your soul, bro.
Yes.
Jay?
But yes, communicate with your spouse.
yeah.
Communicate before you guys even get married. See what you guys, likes, dislikes. I think it's very important.
It
right?
is.
When you're young, you feel like when you're young, you feel like you can do everything.
You're so
right?
childish.
Exactly. When you're a child, you think you can
Right.
do everything you can, right? You feel like
Get
you can
away.
touch your toes to your head and stuff like that, right? But it's like, okay, I gotta get realistic here, okay? Okay, so communicate, right? Even prior to marriage, communicate. Have that conversation, have that connection, intimate communication connection, so it can develop into a healthy sexual life too, right?
Yeah.
So again, you guys are right, because intimacy is not just the sexual aspect. It's more than that. It's communication.
Well, it starts when your everyday interactions with
Yeah.
your wife, right? Like, hey, one thing I hear some men complain, oh, well, you know what? She's not putting out enough. She's not, and I mean, I'm sure probably all of us have felt that way at some point in our, and for me, it was like, well, why? When I started asking questions as to why, I realized, you know what? We're both working full-time jobs. One of us is coming home and cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids. And then I was watching TV. So at the end of the night, somebody has more energy than the other person.
Yeah.
But wait, why don't you want to put out? Well, I'm exhausted. And then, long story short, you start helping out. Guess what? I got the dishes today. I'll take care of the homework with the kids. Nighttime comes around, all of a sudden she's got energy.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just need, as the men, just need to make an adjustment and help your wives out, man.
Definitely.
So she can have energy for the things you want her to have energy for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not expect her to work just like you did, 8 hours, and then come home and then cook for you and then clean up after you. Come on, bro.
But also do that because you want to do that too, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't just do it because you're like, oh, if I do the dishes today, I'm going to get some tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Bam.
Like, no, do it because you
Major
really, you really, really want
Valid.
to be there and to help her
Absolutely.
out around. You know what I mean? Like, you really want to do that because that's something you want to, like, take a load off of her, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you just want to help her out and, move on in your relationship. And
Sorry, I had a cough. I had to hold my coffin.
it's all right, brother. But that's it, man. That's what it's about. Communicating, talking about these things beforehand in marriage and Looking for the ways to improve each other, and in intimacy in all the areas, right? And like one of the things I like that you talk about was about the kids and what they see you, how they see you communicate with your spouse, how they see your wife communicate with you. Does your wife show you respect when she speaks to you? Because it goes that way too. Yeah. Men, we crave respect, and women crave love. You know, and so if we give that to each other, man, you won. Your relationship's just gonna keep going.
Yep. And if they don't respect you, then you're not gonna love them correctly, right?
Exactly.
So it's like, all right, respect me, and I'll love you, and then again, it's a full circle all around. And then your kids see that, like, oh, look, mommy and daddy love each other. Yeah, cool. This is how it should be. You know what I mean, and you have a healthy household, right? Yeah. And then you make sure the kids go to sleep early. Yeah. For your time.
Yeah. Such a broad topic. I feel like we can talk about so much. But sex is important in your marriage. But now I would like to pivot into marriage goals. You guys had a chance to talk to your wife and like what your goals are later in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, a goal of ours is to be homeowners soon. I gave myself till 35 to like, maybe have something or have progress on something. So that's definitely a goal of ours is to that. I think, we have, our kids and, we have our careers, our jobs. And so we're stable, right? But I think that's just the next step for us now is like, okay, what now can we do? And is it going to be in San Jose, California? Who knows? Need a miracle at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think that's our next step is to do that. And I don't know. Just keep growing, I think. I feel like these past couple of years we've been on a nice roll and it's like, okay, let's just see where this goes from now. Just keep it going. Momentum, Don't let anything get in the way, I guess. But yeah, that's it. Pretty vague.
Yeah, man. Our goals right now is retirement. Yeah. Early retirement, man.
Wow.
So that's our biggest goal right now. So, investing and not having all our eggs in one basket. So, just continue investing in different things. And, we're at a good spot right now. So, I'm tired. I want to retire already. So that's the biggest goal right now for us. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. More. Yeah. Right now, yes, we'd love to have a home. Don't know if it'll happen, at least not here in San Jose or California, it's tough competition. We did for a while. A couple of years ago, we did try and everyone beats you. Everyone outbids you. Everyone, maybe 6-7 houses and we put bids in and even going, 20, 25, 30 over asking, still got outbid, and you're just like, man, what do you got to do? Yeah. So it was tough. But at this point, for California, for San Jose at least, we've kind of given up on the having a house here dream, But I would say our singular goal right now as a couple is to just raise boys that are independent, that are going to set themselves up their future.
That's good.
And make good choices from when they're young so that, they can do the same like Jay, just retire early. Yeah. And if they make those decisions now, 16, 17, 18, soon to be 18, by the time they're, late 30s, early 40s, they could be thinking about it. If they just do it now and they do it right, they just stack most of their money. So they can live with us as long as they're making good choices. They can live with us rent free as long as they want, and they can just stack all the money that they can. And when they're ready to bounce and do their thing, cool. And I think if we have raised boys that love God, number one, and respect women, and are happy with the decisions that they made and made good, solid decisions as independent men, and who know how to communicate, right? All those good things that we talked about tonight.
Yeah, that's good.
That will have been good enough for me and her.
I love that.
That's dope. I love it. For me and my wife, I mean, we have our personal goals. I'm still growing in my career, and she's still growing in her side business, in her small business. She has a jewelry shop. So, personally, we're still trying to build each other. I'm helping her out a lot, like the logistics, the taxes, and then the website development, all of that. So we're trying to build her. And at the same time, me going into my career. So that's just personally because together as we want to continue to seek our financial goals, and like how you guys mentioned, have a place of our own as well. I would love for me to just be able to work and provide, and she can no longer have to work and be part of her business, but just do her business full time. So that's something that I'm trying to do. I'm seeking to do. Just have her just focus on that. And since we don't have kids, right, just travel. Yeah. Travel. We plan on going to Mexico next year. And just like how you mentioned, creating memories within us. And that's what we got. That's what we got going on right now. What's up, bro? No kids, traveling, and
making memories. We don't
have kids and, business.
Making memories is important, for sure. I think that's definitely a goal for us. I think the real question here now is, if we have to leave California, you guys all coming?
No.
Where are you going?
He
wants to retire here.
Even if it's your Vegas Raiders?
Wow. I'm down.
Really?
Yeah, I got my family here, man.
Okay.
My family's here.
It's an hour flight.
I mean, that was at the very beginning of when we started the podcast. Mm-hmm. We talked about that. That's been my life. My parents and my siblings. Mm-hmm. I've had them all my life. So as long as they're still living and they're here, I would never leave. Yeah. And then depending too where my kids at. So
that's true.
Yeah. I mean, depending on where she's going with her life, seems like she'll stick around. But see what God has for us. But as of right now, I plan on staying here.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
that's cool. Yep.
Yeah, I'll go and visit.
Right. Yeah. Personally, if I was retiring, I would want to retire in a city or the state where majority of my family is, so I can spend more time with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. On the opposite, I want to get away. I want to get a 1-bedroom condo out in the North Shore, Oahu.
Right.
All right, and just chill by the beach every single day of my life. That's what I would love to do. That's my retirement goals. My kids can be grown. You know what I mean? That's why we had kids young. So, when I'm 40, they're going to be, hitting 20 now. So it's like, all right, what you doing with your life?
Yeah.
All right.
40, bro.
Yeah.
You act like you're so young.
When I'm 40 is young, dog. My kids are going to be, I mean.
No, you act like you're young right now. Like, that's just another 10 years.
Exactly what I'm saying is like when I'm. Young. I am. I'm the youngest one.
Your kids will not be 20 in 10 years.
They will.
Will they?
Yeah. Mia is what? She's 7. In 10 years, she'll be 17. Yeah, they'll be close to leaving the house if they go to college. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, cool. Our mid-40s will be like, we're kid-free.
Yeah.
Let's go. You know what I mean? That's why I'm scared to have another baby. So it's like, I have it all planned out.
So,
you know what I mean?
So don't communicate too good.
No, we communicate about that. Like, all right, make sure. We don't want to start over again. So yeah, I mean, I'm the opposite, man. If I retire, man, I'm out.
Yeah.
I just need a 1-bedroom condo, and that's it. Even give me a studio, I don't care.
Yeah, my problem is I get attached way too easy. So I always have to keep like a wall up, and not get too attached, because then I don't like change. I'm horrible with change. It's just people moving.
Yeah.
We've had this discussion.
Yeah.
When people, I mean, for me, it's like they get up and leave. It's like, I get it, that's what they, excuse me, the desires, that they have. But it's just, for me, it's, I need to have everything the same and people around me.
Gotcha.
That's most important to me.
You seem like a guy who likes, comfort, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm spontaneous, dog. If it wasn't for my wife, I'd be living in New York. I would have moved to Florida. I would have moved to Texas. I would have moved to everywhere, because to me, it's like, we have one life the Lord gave us. You know,
Yeah.
like who knows? I mean, what if I'm meant to live somewhere else? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to like also feel like I'm stuck somewhere. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
open for all that.
I mean, you said it's one life that the Lord gave us. So for me personally, I would choose to do life with the close people in my life.
I feel you. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel
That's
you
me.
guys. I'll still call. I'll still call. I mean, yeah. I mean, we've done it before. We've got up and left, and then we came back, but I'm not.
I just feel
against
like
it.
when you move a lot, it's hard to do life with people, because you're always building new relationship, which is great. It's always good to have new relationships and network, but just to be able to build trust, that love with certain people.
Yeah.
I feel like that's hard. You can't just
Yeah.
do that with anybody.
Yeah.
And leaving that, that's a little rough. Then it's like it's really just you and whoever you're moving with.
For sure.
Yeah, because you got to put effort into building relationships, right?
Yeah.
And like for you guys to have a strong friendship that you do, I mean, you have to put in the effort for it, right? And that for that to just kind of disappear, and then someone else, comes along, and then you're gonna have to put in the same effort again, and then you're getting older, and the energy probably will not be there, So I feel you.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well.
So don't ever leave me, guys.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think I can. Kids are already in their school. They're settled in. So to me, it's like, I don't know, man.
This
It's gonna be tough.
podcast goes off. We're stuck together forever. Straight up.
All right. We
Yeah.
can do
If
it
y'all
via
wanna
Zoom.
see us together,
Because if we break up, so does the money. So, not
y'all
that
want to see us together
there is any right
for
now.
10, 20 plus years, then make sure to hit that like and subscribe
Yeah.
button.
10,
Help
20,
us
dog?
out.
Damn.
And,
I was thinking like
hopefully-
3 more years, I'm out. I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
It's up to the fans.
I'm
bro.
kidding. No,
That's why I always keep my guard up with you, bro.
Right.
That's just because I'm a Dodger fan. That's all. That's why.
Over here.
We ain't shady though.
Got Tony the Tiger over here.
Well, I think that concludes today's episode.
Please help share this
Yes.
with your family, with your friends, anyone who you think will be beneficial, this would be beneficial to.
Yep. And then when you're done watching this, go have a conversation with your wife or husband. Okay. Go
Yeah.
talk. That's it.
Make some love too.
After you had the healing conversation.
Yes.
The healing conversation.
It'll feel a
It's
lot
part
better.
of it. It's part of it.
Yeah.
We out.